Hi, I'm Audrey Hope. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Hope for Relationships. I am the Soul Love Healer, and today we're going to hear from Tina from Sedona, who wants to know, why do we need to talk about Atlantis now? Please join me. Healing is so unbelievably simple. You do what needs to be done, and that's it. Over. Problem solved. Thanks for joining me so we could heal all our issues from the deep level of the soul. Tina from Sedona writes, I am obsessed with Atlantis and what happened to all the spiritual people. Can you shed some light on the subject of Atlantis and why it might be important to discuss it now? Great question, Tina. The story of Atlantis is about an evolved spiritual utopian civilization where people were psychic and divine and used magical powers, but they abused their power through greed, superficiality. Maybe they just weren't ready for the power, and so the gods got angry and they brought fires and earthquakes and floods, and then Atlantis sank deep into the ocean. Now, why is it important to talk about Atlantis right now? Because we are in a spiritual prophecy of the return of our spiritual power and the creation of a new earth, where we are getting our skills back, our spiritual magical gifts. And also we are experiencing so much turmoil on the earth. Could it be cataclysms over again? And we ask, will we be repeating the same mistakes? Could we misuse our power once again? So that's why the subject comes up. So Thoth, who wrote the Emerald Tablets, said this amazing thing: go forth and preserve the teachings of men till light grows amongst men. And he said, live in the divine, grow your light, look deeper into the consciousness of your soul to become better spiritual beings rather than be caring about the material world. And so we take heed of his messages that this is the time to grow our light. Now, is the story of Atlantis true, or is it just a made-up story? We get most of our historical accounts from Plato's stories, where he wrote about a utopian society that got lost into the sea. And we do have some scientists, and we know that they're looking for proof of Atlantis in the Bahamas, in Spain, in the Antarctic. But the most important point about this research has to do with the wounds that we are deeply left with. Because the story of our history can be reduced down to a people who have lost their power. And we are now experiencing that in our lives, with our government, in our politics. Do we feel guilty about stepping into our power? This is a very serious wound that a lot of us have in our DNA, in our memories. Can we step into our power again? What would happen to us again? And so, maybe it's a trick of the dark forces to keep us out of stepping into our power. And so what we learn from all of this, Tina, is that we must never let anyone or anything keep us out of our spiritual connection. And with that, we will move forward without guilt and take back the planet. And so, whether we find the proof of Atlantis or whether we feel the proof in our own hearts and souls and in our meditations, we can't carry the wounds that we've done something wrong and that we have to be afraid that the world will end again and sink into the ocean. With that, I say, it is time for us all to be these magnificent beings, just like the Atlanteans. I'm Audrey Hope, and thanks for joining me. If you have a question, you can write to me on my Facebook, my Instagram, my Twitter. The links are in the description box. And don't forget to like and subscribe so we could heal all our issues from the deep level of the soul. I'm Audrey Hope, and thanks for joining me. Hey, if you like my videos, and I hope you do, then subscribe and click. Are you gonna click? Come on, click here now. Let's go.